The very first segment that I wanted to pick up today is the big elephant in the room. Okay, these are the most obvious problems that everyone is aware of, but no one wants to discuss about it.
Though parents are very important stakeholders, I think as academicians we need to keep up on what needs to be given to the society.
The poll result says that 72% they see teachers swapping within the year, and 18% says no. So, what is your view, ma'am?
One, you need this, the child has to be taught about how to be used and the restrictions from the people who are using it in a school scenario when it demands for a quality education.
Okay.
And I think I had even mentioned about the rural urban divide, which I think it's a very difficult task to be managing with the kind of population we have.
Hello everyone, welcome to the Caprics Educators Talk. Today, for this session, we have Dr. Meenakshi Ramesh ma'am from Vels group of schools, who has like 40 years of experience in school leadership and curriculum design. Welcome to the show, ma'am. To start with, okay, 40 years of experience, or like say you're into education, is not an easy feat to us. Like we are into that kind of a segment. And can you give us like a background about what is your journey? Like you would have seen many ups and downs, and you would have seen many challenges. Like what not would be there in this entire 40 years of journey? Can you quickly give us some brief about like how was your journey looking at the past, and till today, what is your way of looking at it, ma'am?
A very happy morning to Mr. Shankara Narayanan,
you.
who is the founder CEO of that beautiful Caprics learning lab that you have in your hand. And that reminds me of the floral arrangement of the petals, and it has a lot to say when you see that, something would have gone behind in designing that logo even for your lab. And talking about my journey for the past 40 years in the field of education, I think I've had many challenges in its own way. And starting my career as a lecturer, I think I was born and brought up in Delhi, and that gave me a lot of founding on how I should be street smart.
Okay.
That gave me a lot of push on knowing who is even fooling me around. It's one of the important skills that we need to teach our students today in a world where the entire scenario is so fake, right? So I think I've had that grounding when I was in Delhi, and subsequent to that, with a short break in my career for 7 years, again I took up to my qualifications, upskilling my professional qualifications when I had not even taken up a job after I got married. Then subsequent to that, I had an opportunity to work as an academic supervisor in one of the CBSE schools. Then later took over to principal of a matriculation school in a small district in Tamil Nadu called the Salem district, which was a matriculation school. Then from then on, as a principal of a matriculation school, again got an opportunity to be transferred to a job as a principal in one of the CBSE schools in Chennai. And later to that, I think I got an opportunity to get exposed to different boards of curricula as a principal, serving both the national and the international curricula. And I've been working with Vels group of schools now, as of now, as the director, managing the academics of almost 24 schools.
Excellent.
So it has been a pleasant journey for me getting into teacher training and curriculum designing. And I think there is a lot more to learn, lot more to enjoy. It's not always the title, it's not the role, but then how you look at enhancing your own potentials, which I think is a gift from the God.
Exactly. It's a very big journey, is what I understand. You have seen like multiple roles, and you have seen like different boards of curriculum, and like the boards are there. So that's where I wanted to start this segment, ma'am. The very first segment that I wanted to pick up today is the big elephant in the room. Okay, these are the most obvious problems that everyone is aware of, but no one wants to discuss about it. Okay, that's where we call it as the elephant in the room. The first one is schools has to manage two key factors. One is parents, the expectations of the parents. On the other side is the academic standards, the goals, and everything. Okay, what we have seen is like say schools are trying to balance or like struggling to manage the balance between the parents' expectation and academic standards. So, what is your view, ma'am? Where schools has to constantly adapt to the parents' expectations, or should they be like stay firm with the academic goals and standards that they wanted to achieve? Okay, sure. What is your view on this?
I think as academicians, though parents are very important stakeholders, I think as academicians we need to keep up on what needs to be given to the society, keeping an eye on the existing demands, the need of the society. Of course, a lot depends on the location or existence of the school, the community, the parents, the background of the parents, the cultural background of the children, the exposure level. But everything can't be handed over to the parents.
True, very
As
true.
a school with the philosophy and the mission set, I have to stick on to the academic goals. At the same time, I should be open to the request and the feedback, but not giving the entire ruling authority to the parents.
Very
I
true.
feel I should stick on to academia, and as academicians, we need to update as to what is required to have those gaps filled in so that the parents also feel happy based on the demands and create an awareness. So I have to cater to the needs of the parents, but at the same time, I can't give the baton to them to rule the school. It's like I have to keep it under my control.
Purview and control
Yes.
of it. Excellent. The next segment is an audience poll, ma'am. We took few questions. Okay. We reached out to educators, the parents, and the teachers to take their views. Okay. We will go through the poll. We will see what their responses is, and I wanted to hear from you what you look at and like those specific pointers. Okay. The very first question that we took is which are like more pressing in the society is we see the students and their students marks obtained as the like marketing factor for schools or the coaching institutes and everything. Okay. And we got a response that like 70% of the response were like they don't want to do or use students for the marketing, and 30% even said okay because they felt it is a learning outcome that they've been seen. What is your view on this, ma'am, this poll?
I think it's a valid point on student outcomes, which we should not miss out at any cost, according to me. At the end of the day, it's a student outcome depending on the board that would demand, whether it is my state board or matriculation or whatever it is. The outcomes are graded very beautifully. I think we have to talk about the student outcomes at the end of the day, provided there is a fair approach in the entire assessment system, in the projection of the marks at the end of the academic year. If there is a fair way and a fair means of projecting the quantitative outcome of the learning outcomes, why not use it is my question.
Okay.
You should use it.
We should use it. Okay. The next poll question that we see here is the attrition rate of the teachers, specifically in early years, which is comparatively more in early years than when we talk about higher classes. Okay. The poll result says that 72% they see teachers swapping within the year, and 18% says no. So, what is your view, ma'am?
So, talking about this poll review on the teacher attrition at the primary level, I think this is true to some extent because I have seen many individuals who would want to take up this just for not sitting at home, but I would want to be earning some money,
Okay.
not taking the job seriously. For few years, they keep coming in and going. And that is one reason for which the attrition could be more.
Okay.
The second reason is that with the mushrooming up of the schools, each school would want to have some kind of, so it's like poaching also. It happens that the teachers are hired by the neighboring schools with a higher salary.
Okay.
So they don't realize they don't have any qualification to begin with. They keep jumping with the hike in the salary that the new schools are willing to pay. And ultimately, there is no worth of what the qualities or the attributes of a teacher should be in a candidate when he or she enters in a school scenario. She would have worked as a teacher or he would have worked for 5 years or 10 years, but you will not see major attributes that are very, very required and which are must for a teacher who enters into this profession by choice.
By choice,
I need
okay.
to have those core attributes in a teacher, which needs to be developed so that she models these attributes to the students. But reasons could be like this, that either she doesn't realize that she is going to be in this profession, it is my choice that I've chosen this, or while away the time the teachers just walk in and it's a pocket money for many. That also happens. So I think that is why you find at the primary level they don't really take it seriously, and even schools don't bother. As long as I have somebody who can communicate well, if I'm going to be paying a little less without the qualification, let me hire. There is a tendency of this kind of recruitment also, because of which they keep changing schools. As I told you, if they are paid higher salary, they keep shifting from one school to the other without knowing the values of what real meaning of calling oneself a teacher is.
Teachers, okay. Understand that, ma'am. The next poll that we have is, do we allow children to bring mobile from a safety angle to the schools? Why? Because this parents as a mindset feel that having a mobile or like giving them the mobile to the students increases or like say have a safety factor there. And the poll results is like somewhere around 69% says to have mobile to school for the children, and 31% says no for having a mobile there. So what is your view, ma'am?
I would agree with yes, right? And there are systems where I can even have a deposit place for the mobiles to be kept. And
Okay.
even when a teacher wants to use the mobile in a particular classroom scenario, I need to be giving that to the child. Otherwise, we will not be advancing in terms of using any gadgets or any technique. So I need to be giving this for two purposes. One can be for safety, which can be kept at a place, where it is kept under a safe custody.
Okay.
And when it has to be used inside a classroom, the children are allowed to use. And there are many other software where which will not allow these children to go out of apps that are being used within the school.
Okay.
It
The safety
restricts
measures.
them, yeah. So they need to be made aware of the cyber rules, the security system, so that the cyber security policies are in place for the school and everybody knows that this is the system and one has to use the tool. It's like a double-edged weapon for me, but I have to use it for safety is one. You do need this. The child has to be taught about how to be used and the restrictions from the people who are using it in a school scenario. If that is imbibed as a school policy brought into the practice, I think it will work wonders.
Okay. And I personally also feel it's more about bringing the practice and discipline within the children, saying that like what is how to use and how not to use it. That's what I also feel now. The next poll that we have is one of the key topics that every household discusses. This education becoming expensive day by day. Okay. The poll result says that 81% feel that current education system is very expensive in India, and whereas the rest says no. So, what is your view on having this, ma'am?
It is, sir. It is. I have to accept that because when it comes to giving a quality education, I think there is a lot of investment on that, and I think it is on the higher end when it demands for a quality education.
Okay.
And I think I had even mentioned about the rural-urban divide, which I think it is a very difficult task to be managing with the kind of population we have. So when you have to go for quality, you have to invest money. It is like that. The scenario is like that.
Okay. To add much more detail in depth, ma'am, how do we make it affordable to at least like have a standard education, right? Like we're not talking about a premium kind of an education, but at least a standard education. Like how the school should practice this kind of a structure so it is affordable for even in a rural area, and then or like how do we do that?
I think it's all politicized these days. If I put it very frankly, it's very difficult to bring in one nation, one platform, and one digital learning, right? The advocacy is like that. I'm making it very plain, but it is very difficult to bring in a unified pattern of learning system in our country. And the standards, it varies. There is no measurable yardstick. We only have the standard yardstick from other countries which are used to measure us.
Okay.
But I think as a country, they are doing a lot to maintain some standard in terms of school quality assurance and assessment framework, which is done by the national examining body of the Central Board of Secondary Education.
Okay.
It is doing a great job in terms of bringing in a national education policy and the national curriculum framework. Everything is making it little more feasible, but all have to understand what exactly it conveys, so that I try to bring in that kind of a standard into the entire teaching learning scenario.
Okay.
It would depend on how one imbibes the inputs given in all this, but it's very beautifully opined, very beautifully documented. But it will take a long time to fall into this category of talking about just one curriculum for one nation.
One
But
nation,
it
okay.
needs efforts as an individual. If we make an effort, it all starts with the individual, right?
Correct.
The change has to happen from within. And if I really understand the beauty of the curriculum framework, how it needs to be standardized, and how it needs to be met with the standard, I think the CBSE has come out with an excellent documentation of this, what we call a SQUA. I would request everybody to go through that. It's in no way lesser to your benchmarking by many Australian benchmarking PISA or any other private agencies that give you a ranking.
Okay.
Why should we go for an outside agency for a ranking when we
Ranking
have it in our
mechanism.
own country? But it depends, highly individualistic. Why you are there in this profession and what quality means has to be understood.
Okay.